After starting the month of January with 2 losses, the UNC Pembroke men's basketball team has been on a hot streak as of late and are fighting for the top spot in the Peach Belt Conference. We'll talk to head coach Ben Miller in a moment. On the women's side, the Braves are also in the thick of the race for first in the PBC's East Division. UNCP already has 2 wins against ranked opponents this season, with triumphs over Clayton State and North Georgia. Both basketball teams are in action today at USC Aiken. In the pool, UNC Pembroke swimming and diving won its first meet in school history last Saturday, defeating Greensboro in a tri-meet that also featured Sweet Briar. There's another meet for UNCP swim and dive today at Limestone. The 18th ranked UNCP wrestling team is gearing up for the conference portion of its schedule. We'll talk to head coach O.T. Johnson later in the show. And UNCP track and field began the indoor portion of its schedule at the UNC Open in Chapel Hill Saturday. The Braves' performances included 13 top 10 finishes. Next up for the Braves is the Wake Forest Invitational in Winston-Salem today. The Black and Gold Report starts now. Welcome to another episode of the Black and Gold Report presented by Pepsi, a show all about UNC Pembroke athletics. I'm Cameron Songer, and this week we check in with UNCP men's basketball and wrestling as the winter season continues. Right now it's my pleasure to be joined in studio by head coach Ben Miller of UNCP men's basketball. Coach, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, Cam.
The Braves are right in the thick of the Peach Belt Conference race, and since we haven't had you on for a little while, can you give us an update on how the team has been doing so far?
Well, we're on a pretty good run right now. We've had a lot of games in a short period of time. Fortunately, we've got a little depth, so I like the progress of the team right now, and I think if we can just stay focused on each day, each practice, and keep getting better, could have some fun down the stretch of the season.
Coach, one of the things that jumps out about this edition of the Black and Gold is the offense, especially at home on Lumbee Guarantee Bank Court, where the Braves are averaging about 90 points per game. For the season in general, there are 5 players who average more than 10 points per game. What has made the offense so successful?
Well, I do think we have good depth and balance. We've got a lot of guys that can score. But we've tried to get the team, I think they've done a good job of buying into the defensive end. I think we're amongst the league leaders in steals and block shots. And a lot of times that can get your offense going, get your fast break going, get some easy ones. And I think that's really where we need to keep our guys focused. We haven't really had too big of an issue scoring the ball. If somebody's having an off night, there's always somebody else that can step up. But if we're consistent with our defense and our rebounding, I think that's going to help keep our offense going in the right direction.
UNCP right near the top of the standings in the Peach Belt Conference, including some big wins against teams at the top of the West Division. What kind of message does that send to other teams in the East Division as you really start to lock in and play more of those interdivisional games?
Well, I don't really know. I don't know that they put a lot of stock too much into. I think we all scout the previous couple games, and I think everybody's fighting for the same things. We're fortunate enough going into those East games to be in good position in the league standings. But I think everybody, including our guys, have to take it one game at a time because everybody in this league, the depth of this league is always amazing to me. There's never a surprise when somebody that's maybe near the bottom of the standings supposedly upset somebody near the top. There's so many good players and good coaches in this league that every game is going to be a test.
Speaking of that schedule, there have already been a few weeks that have seen your team play 3 games in a week, and there are more still to come. The next week, we'll see 7 days off in between games. What are some of the positives and negatives of the schedule working out like that?
Well, it'll be good for us because we actually might be able to give the guys maybe a day or maybe even 2 days off, which we haven't had for a while, and just have a little extra preparation time to work on. Not just, when the games come so fast where there's a day or 2 days in between, you're really focused on the next opponent. What are they doing defensively? What are they doing on offense that we need to guard? Where when you have that much time, you can work a little bit more just on improving fundamentals and things like that sometimes during the year can slip a little bit. So hopefully we'll take advantage of getting a little rest and getting a little more practice time.
One of the biggest storylines for the season so far has been the return of Quamaine Rose, who returned after the end of the fall semester. How has the former All-American recovered from that knee injury and fit in with the existing group?
I think his knee's healthy. If we can get a couple more pounds off of him, that would help too. But every day I think he's getting a little more confident, a little bit better shape. And, he's making more and more of those plays that we know he's capable of. His leadership is really unique. His toughness, his competitiveness is special too. So I know the guys are excited about having him back.
We need to take our first time out, but we'll be back with more UNCP basketball coverage right after this.
Brave Nation is about to commence. Rewards, event times, and the Brave Nation student section, it all lives here. Download hashtag Brave Nation for free, fill out your full user profile, check in from your Brave Nation section seat, and start redeeming swag. Turn on your notifications so you don't miss out on important Brave Nation information. Download the app, fill out your profile, be loud in the Brave Nation student section, and get rewarded.
Welcome back to the Black and Gold Report. I'm Cameron Songer, joined once again by men's basketball coach Ben Miller. Coach, we talked about Quamaine Rose, but he's joined in the backcourt by Brandon Watts and Alex Bradley, who have proven over the last 2 years to be some of the best two-way players in the Peach Belt Conference. Talk about what they bring.
Well, it's nice to have a veteran backcourt. Quamaine, I guess he's a 6th-year senior, Alex a 5th-year senior, Brandon a junior, and then Mike Smith off the bench is a 5th-year senior as well. He's been in the program 3 years, but having that kind of veteran leadership in the backcourt is special. And as a coach, it allows you sometimes to sit back and let those guys do a lot of the coaching on the floor because they're really an extension of the staff. They know the system so well. They know this league, and they know how preparation and is so important. So they're leaders, what you see on the court, but also in the locker room and practice and everything we do.
That's the backcourt. Now into the front court, leading scorer is Nigel Grant, but he's joined by a true freshman, Akia Pruitt, who's done a lot of things on the defensive end as well. How important has their consistency been to the team's success?
Well, we talk about the experience in the backcourt. In the front court, they're basically new players. Nigel's a junior, but it's his first year competing for us. Akia, a true freshman, and then Carson and JB off the bench being sophomores. Big Jeff McElwain doesn't play as much, but he's another freshman. So we're not as experienced in the front court, but really talented. Nigel played a couple years of junior college ball, so he's been through some battles, and obviously he's played really well. And Akia's really performed very well for a freshman. To come into this league and do what he's been able to do is unique. Doesn't happen very often. And then being able to have guys like Carson Mounts and JB that are capable of being starters for us, but they've really bought into their role coming off the bench and contributing there. And so we really have 4 guys that can score for us in the post, rebound, and contribute in a lot of ways.
You talked about some of them already, but one of the other keys to your team's success so far has been that second unit, guys coming off the bench. You talked about Carson, James Murray Boyles. The play from the backcourt as well coming off the bench has been key. Micah Kinsey, Mike Smith off the bench as well. There's been little to no drop-off when that second unit comes on the floor. As a coach, I'm sure it's nice to have that kind of confidence in your role players.
Well, we've talked about it as a team because a lot of those guys, might start other places, but they've been patient. They're all unselfish, and even a guy like Andrew Evans was starting earlier in the year, and he's played really well. When Q came back, we talked to him about Q moving back into the starting lineup, and Andrew had a great attitude about it, as Micah has, Mike Smith, those guys, and I think they've really bought into giving us a spark off the bench and making the most of those minutes they do get. And the starters really have a lot of respect, because they got to go against each other every day in practice, and we have some great battles in practice. But it's definitely a blessing to have that kind of depth.
One area your team has had a lot of success this season has been on the glass. The Braves rank as one of the top rebounding teams in the conference. What does that say about the kind of effort the guys put forth each and every day?
Well, that's something, despite what might happen shooting the ball or handling the ball, we might have some turnovers. I think our guys know that if they're dialed in and given that effort, rebounding is something you should be able to control night in and night out. Kind of like, defensive energy. You might make some mistakes and make some fouls, but we can always play hard. And rebounding comes down to effort, want to, grit, and that's something that we've got to hang our hat on every night.
Looking ahead now, the next game for the Braves is tonight at USC Aiken. What does your team need to do to come away with a victory in that one?
Well, you know, they're having a great season. You know, last year, you know, they lost a lot of players, so you know they got a lot of new players. And Coach Slice, we call him, Vander Slice, has done a great job. It's only his second year there, but he's really got that program being very competitive in the Peach Belt, going the right direction. So it's going to be another great Peach Belt battle. Coach,
thank you so much for your time. Look forward to talking to you again soon. Stay tuned to the Black and Gold Report. We'll be right back with wrestling coach O.T. Johnson after these messages.